of Holocaust studies. So music and art during the Nazi period within the concentration camps, within the Jewish communities, was the focus this time. And Dr. Tamara Freeman from Bergen Community College was certainly a marvelous leader of the experience that people came to appreciate very deeply, because music can transcend our limitations of language and culture and so on. And so we can be touched through music in ways that other human experiences sometimes are more limiting.
Yes, and the beautiful seminar on the art with the children by the professor.
Yes, Professor Susan Leshnoff was very giving us a workshop on the art of the children in Theresienstadt, the concentration camp near Prague in Czechoslovakia.
Which was, I had never learned about or heard that there was a select group of concentration camps that people at that time were able to be put into, and then of course unfortunately moved down the line to the other ones.
But this was the only concentration camp that the Nazis put forth as a place that could be inspected by the Red Cross.
That was the
reasoning. So, they made it a model kind of thing.
And what was the name of it again, Father?
In German, it's Theresienstadt.
Theresienstadt.
Terezin is the Czech name, and that's a city about half an hour out of Prague. It was a town for some, and then they made it into a ghetto, into a concentration camp, because the Nazis came into Czechoslovakia in 1938, and of course they'd already, from 1933, there was a concentration camp in Dachau, especially for anybody who opposed the Nazis. And then later on they developed this way in which we are to think of the Jewish effort to have a spiritual resistance to the Nazis, that the stripping of human dignity and the enslavement of people and the persecution, of course, was a terrible tragedy which diminished the humanity of people in tragic ways. But the idea of resisting, not only militarily, which was very, very limited, or through partisan groups and so on, but the spiritual resistance through prayer and through the arts and other ways. This was a very important...
What a people of faith to be mired in a concentration camp and still praying.
And still having regular rhythms of prayer, and then trying to find ways to uplift the spirits.
To hope, And Father, I know from an academic, and we all know now from an academic perspective, where your journey has taken you, but can you, in our last closing moments, can you give us an overall view of how it has affected you both spiritually and emotionally?
Well, I would say from early in my studies for the priesthood, I saw that liturgy, the worship of God, is the center of focus that draws us of course, individually, but especially as a community, into a deeper faith experience. And we use the sacred scriptures in liturgy. We draw upon art and music, of course. And so, so these are the synthesizing forces that I like to draw attention to in my personal studies and my growth as a person, as a priest, is to serve God and then serve neighbor. And of course, liturgy is a great context for education. And so we try to develop not only a way to avoid anti-Jewish bigotry in any of our prayers, but more positively, I like to show the Jewish roots of so many of our prayers and ceremonies, and help people to realize that, for example, we share the Psalms, we share many other canticles of the Jewish scriptures, and so I try to make that the center of my teaching and help the way and help draw people into the riches of God's Word in the sacred scriptures, so that we can learn together, both Jews and Christians.
Thank you for sharing that. Now, in our final closing moments, what are your dreams? What do you hold out for the future that you'd like to do or accomplish or see happen?
One of the developments I'd like to see for our master's program is to bring more students from Eastern Europe to study with us, because there are young people there who are keen about developing an understanding of the history of the past, the tragic history that ended for many Jewish communities in the Shoah, in the Holocaust. But we have young people now, Catholics and Russian Orthodox community members, who would like to tap into the spiritual heritage of the past. And so this is one thing I would like to see. But the problem is we need to have more funding to draw people from other parts of the world who cannot work in the United States except on the Seton Hall campus, and their jobs are limited. So if we had funding which could pay tuition plus some living expenses, that would be a great addition to our MA program.
Well, we certainly are both exponents of knowing how well God provides, so we're going to hope that that's a reality very soon. But Father Frizell, you're amazing.
Well, thank you very much for this opportunity to share with you.
So much for sharing your beautiful journey, and hopefully more people will find you. You're one of God's hidden jewels that we shining brightly, but we have to come and seek you out. So again, this is Mayme Puccio from A Dominican Way. We thank Sister Agnes so very much for this opportunity today. And shalom. Peace be with you.